Good morning, Michael. Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I have to apologize. It was impossible for me to start at 9 o'clock. Sometimes you should be in control of your own life to a degree, but I'm not in control of those things around me. And in fact, we're not really, are we, Michael? We're not really in control of our own lives. It's a conversation for another time, but basically, you can't give a share and drive a car at the same time. So I'm sorry and apologies for all those that are going to see this later on and say, well, I was on at 9 o'clock and I couldn't see it. Sometimes these things are beyond my control. Eventually, they'll make it so that you can have a hands-free share. But Jews like to use their hands, so you can't really give a share if you're driving because you need your hands. So let me discuss with you the next Mishnah. Um, okay, so Rabbi Yeshua ben, I think his name is Rabbi Yeshua ben Prachia. That was his name. We're in the first chapter of Ethics of the Fathers, Mishnah 5. And he says as follows. He says that there are three things, three critical components that we should ensure that we achieve. One is acquire a teacher. Secondly, acquire a friend. And thirdly, to judge everyone favorably. Now, I'm going to deal with the first two today, and hopefully we'll be able to do with number three on Sunday at 9:30 a.m. I'm not flying this week, so it should be okay. Last week I was flying, so here we go. So why does Rabbi Yeshua ben Pracha come along? What's the importance in our day and age? What does it mean to acquire a teacher? In days gone by, you used to hear of people going to gurus and mentors. In fact, actually, there is an interesting video that I saw this week. I don't know if you saw it, Michael, or anyone else, but it was of James LeBron. I think that's his name. James LeBron, the highly successful and decorated basketball player, and he is very close to a Kabbalist, a teacher of Torah, and he goes there for blessings to him. And there was the Schottenstein wedding. I think Jerome Schottenstein's son, something like that. Anyways, he had a wedding, and James LeBron went to the wedding, and you saw this bizarre scenario where you had this ultra religious leader and this 6'8" or 7-foot basketball player who's come across to him to get a blessing. So the blessings seem to work because he seems to be one of the most successful basket players of all time. Anyways, so even somebody like James LeBron, who's not even Jewish, recognizes that he wants to have a mentor or somebody that he can turn to for blessings, guidance, advice. Now, what this means is to acquire a teacher is it doesn't mean that we have multiple people in our lives where we seek advice, because that could be exceptionally confusing. It doesn't mean that we can't hear ideas from different people. We're not talking about tunnel vision where it's only one voice, a monotone that we hear. That's not what I'm saying. What the Mishnah is suggesting is that we need to have somebody that really knows us, somebody that really, really knows us, somebody who's a teacher, a rabbi, somebody, and this is not a pitch for business, but it means that like I have in Israel, somebody that really knows me well and will hold a mirror up to me and is able to say to me things that, I may find exceptionally uncomfortable to hear. Nonetheless, it's something that I need to hear. And therefore, when he's giving a psak, when he's giving a decision, when he's giving me guidance, it's based on knowing me, because there are rabbis should be utilized for far more than just whether a chicken is kosher or not, or whether I should fast on Yom Kippur or not. That's not what it's really about. Acquiring a rabbi is somebody that will be able to advise you when it comes to the complexities involved, for example, in rearing children. We've got tremendously complicated world that we live in. Some of the decisions that we have to make, Clarice, are very, very challenging vis-a-vis, hello, good morning, vis-a-vis our children, our grandchildren. How do we, on the one hand, live a principled life, and the other hand, shower them with love and show them unconditional love? How do you reconcile those two? Sometimes we're invited to occasions and events which put us in a very difficult position. What do we do? Do we go or don't we go? There's all types of scenarios and decisions that we have to make about family, about work life, about life in general. And we need to ask questions, or we need just to use that rabbi as a mirror, so that we can hear and just, come to a realization as to what's best for us. That's really what it's about, at least in part. There's a joke in Israel. I don't know if it'll work here online, but we can try it. So, that there are people that they want to get the answer that they want. Like for a doctor. You don't just go to one doctor anymore. You shop around. You go with your internet sheets and you want to get a second opinion, a third opinion, and you want to make sure that you end up with an opinion that you can agree with rather than the other way around. So the same happens, sadly, in our day and age with halachic decisions, that people become famous for their decisions, and therefore people will shop around to get the decision that they want. Well, there is a computer program in Israel, believe it or not. It's called Bar Ilan, after the university. And on this program, it gives loads and loads of responsa. Responsa are where you ask a question and you get the answer. And, you can imagine there are thousands of answers. So the joke is that Bar Ilan came up with a program where you put the answer that you want in, and out pops the rabbi who will give you the answer. So that is not what we want. We don't want yes men and women. We don't want just people that are just going to please us, people pleasers. It's about somebody who can have the integrity to turn around to you and to say, no, you're not doing the right thing. No, you have to rethink it. You have to reconsider. And it's the same when it comes to a friend. Rabbi Yeshua ben Prachia's second statement is that you have to acquire for yourself a friend. Now, we all have friends, but there are friends and there are friends. And I don't like people that are just the yes people, that just agree with everything. I want somebody that's going to stand up, that's going to challenge me, challenge my views, my perceptions, challenge my stance on things, because it's only through being challenged that we are going to be in a position to come to an honest appraisal of a situation and come to the right decision. I had a difficult situation this week. I was in a real dilemma. I'm not going to go into the details, but I read a certain question to two colleagues, and having that outside objective perspective, them not knowing anything about it, was able to inform me as to whether what I was thinking and the stance I was taking was correct or not. That's a true friend, somebody that can be there to empathize, to support, to offer you a shoulder to cry on, or to be there to celebrate with you. But at the same time, it's much, much more, isn't it? A true friend is somebody who's there through thick and thin. There's that amazing Rav Noach Weinberg analogy. It says that you have to love your neighbor as yourself, because I am God. And he says, what does it mean why does it have to say at the end, because I am God? And he said about a king that once had somebody arrested, and they had a trial, and he was found guilty, and they were going to have him hung. And just as he was about to hung, he had a last request. And his last request was that he wanted to sail home to say goodbye to his family. And the king said, that's preposterous. I'm going to let you go. You'll never come back. He says, no, don't worry. I have a friend who will stand in my stead, and he's a guarantor. And if I don't come back, you'll hung him in my place. The king says, I want to see this. I've never heard anything so bizarre in my life. A friend that's going to stand in your stead, and if you don't come back, we'll hang him. He says, yeah. So he introduces to his friend, and that's what's agreed. And he sails off on a lovely sunny day to say his farewells to his family. Anyways, on the way back, as you can imagine, the king gave a specific time period by which he was meant to be back. 31st day of the month, 12 o'clock. If you're not back, we execute your friend. and there wasn't enough wind. In those days, you needed wind for boat to sail. And he arrived, and the king's looking at his watch, and he notices 12 o'clock, and the man, he's the this person is not back. So therefore, he takes the friend and he puts him on the stand, and he puts the noose around his neck and says, "I'm afraid we're going to have to hang you. Your friend didn't come back. Deal's a deal." Okay, the man goes up. They're about to hang him, and all of a sudden, in runs the original man, and he says, "Stop, stop, stop! You can't hang him. I'm back." And the friend who has got a noose around his neck says, "No, you didn't come on time. I made a commitment. You have to hang me, Your Honor. I'm the one who made the commitment. The time's up. You have to hang me." And the friend says, "But I am back and you're not hung. You have to hang me." And they're arguing back and forth, each one saying that they're the one that should give up their life for their friend. And the king, after 10 minutes of hearing this, said, "I've had enough. You know what? I'm going to make a deal with you. I'm not going to hang either one of you on one condition." They said, "What's the condition?" And he said, "The condition is that you make me your third friend." That's the type of friendship and relationship that we want. Please God, we should all achieve it, to have wonderful mentors, role models, friends, and in that way, we'll build fulfilling, meaningful lives. Wishing you all well. Shabbat Shalom. Take care. Apologies again for being late.